Hey guys, Gemma from ASD Rocks, talking today about toilet training. So it was a little while ago that I put up a bit of a post about the way people go to the toilet. And it was because I had been putting together one of these, which is like a PEX toileting picture for someone. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk about, because I do believe that next to food, toileting is one of the hardest things that that we go through as parents, because depending on the level of communication, it's very difficult. Also, the stress as a parent that at 3 years old, that's when people are sort of really starting to do that toilet training thing. And for us, because of how severe Bo was at that age, language wasn't obviously, we couldn't toilet train in a regular way. I've already done some toilet training videos on here before, and also expressed my extreme failure at the first time we tried to toilet train Bo. What an absolute, that didn't work at all. So there are loads of tactics that you can take to toilet train your kid. But the one tip that I really, really want to give to you today, the really important tip, is if you are toilet training now, okay, or if you're going to be toilet training, I think if you're already toilet trained, it's probably too late. But this is coming from, well, I would say 17 years experience, but that's not the case because he hasn't been toilet trained for that long, obviously. But it's actually something, there's a lot of hindsight involved. Like, I wish I had a thought of that when I was doing this. I wish I had a thought of that when I was toilet training, or I wish I had a thought of that, one of my biggest regrets, one of the things I really wish, is that I had never taken Bo off bottles. I was so stressed and worried that he was going to be like a 10-year-old on bottles. But the truth is that I could have actually worked that. I could have actually put it in, like, formula into sippy cups and worked it way up, and at least he would have had some nutrition, some nourishment, because after breastfeeding and going on to solids, and then all of a sudden the stopping with the food, without bottles there was zero nutrition. We all know. But my point is, I wish that I had never taken him off bottles. And, I don't care if he's a 17-year-old still making formula. Okay, now he's making protein shakes, which is amazing. But that is a brand new thing. And, there was 10 to 12 years of severe undernourishment, which affects everything, how they think, how they develop, how they speak, how they grow. Back to the toileting. So the one thing that I really wanted to show you on here is that it explains, I just sort of printed it out. If anybody wants it, I'll put it up for you and you can have it. That's fine. But the first thing is that it explains, this is more not the toilet training thing, this is how to finish, okay? So we were specifically talking about cleaning. The actual difficulty of cleaning, and also having an older child that you have to clean or go into the bathrooms with. This is another issue. You know, it's all well and good in some places where there are disabled bathrooms and you and your child of the opposite sex can go in and, you know, you can help them clean themselves. But one of the things that I, in my toilet training program, is I say to every parent who's getting ready to start toilet training that along with the toilet training of wiping their bottom, okay, they also absolutely have to, if you can start them with wet wipes or it's the flushables, right? I guarantee you that later on down the track, you are going to be far more confident that they are doing a good enough job. Okay, so there are numerous occasions and things that, you know, we don't want to think about. It's nice and easy as a parent of a 3, 4, and 5-year-old for us to be worried about toilet training, but not teaching them how to do it themselves. So we just wipe for them and that's fine and off we go. But if you don't introduce the flushable, the wet wipe, right, as the last one, or it doesn't have to be the last one. You could, as long in the middle, the wipe, the wet one, then the wipe if they don't like the feeling of the wet, whatever. But it needs to be introduced into the routine when you're doing it so that as that child takes over, that is part of the routine. And I often tell parents, verbalize it, guys, when you're with your kid, right? And they're going to the toilet, every moment is a teachable moment. So they go to the toilet, you know, you're in there with them usually, or they call out or whatever it happens to be. You go in to wipe. Straight away, I say, okay. And I pulled, however, and I explain how much, and I say, pull once, pull twice, fold, wipe. Like, I verbalize it. Put it in, pull once, pull twice, fold, wipe, put it in. Now, one wet one, pull out the wet one. There's, you know, I'll do that. And then, okay, now I wipe my bottom again. I look. Is it clean? Yes. Put it in. And then go on to washing the hands. Now, why is it so important? Because routine, if you stick to the same words, the same, you know, even the same intonation, the same, if you can make almost a song out of it, a chant out of it, they're going to be so much more receptive to it. They know and expect, you know, I do 2 times wipe, 1 times wet one, and then wipe, I look, right? But that wet one, that wet wipe, that's the one that's going to give you the confidence that when they take over, that they're not walking off, which has and does happen often, with an unclean bottom. And often, if your child is at school or at special school or out for the day or whatever it happens to be, and they will come home and you will see in their underpants, it's not that they have messed themselves, it's that they haven't, you know, they've probably scratched or something and they haven't cleaned themselves properly. This can cause all sorts of issues from in a number of areas, but some of them being, you know, just skin irritations and things like that. So carry around with you some flushables. They're not that big, guys. This is my, you know, I mean, this is my bag, and it's smaller than when I ever had a nappy bag. Make sure you carry those flushable wipes around with you, because that is going to be the one thing that as they get older, you will know that you can be confident that with that flushable wet wipe, they have a much higher chance of walking out of that bathroom clean. Whereas, you know, we all know every toileting experience is different. And when we're wiping our kids, it's always different depending on what they've eaten, how long they've been in there, whether they've had trouble, too much iron, not enough food, all that sort of stuff. You know, you as an adult can judge. And we're there, and, you know, we've got them push forward, and we're sort of doing this, and we're looking. Tell them what you're doing when you're doing it. Let them hear it, right? Then, again, that flushable wipe is always going to be, if you do it from the beginning and they're used to that feeling, because if you introduce it too late, they won't like that wet feeling. It won't feel like it's cleaning. And that's the key. You know, what we're trying to do is set them up for independence. Be sure and know that these kids are going to grow up and be capable of walking out of a bathroom, that we can feel confident that our kids are capable of walking out of a bathroom with a clean bottom. Okay, so once again, here we are. This is the one that I was talking about the other day. It's cut. I don't know why it cut off, but this is the wipe my bottom 2 times. Take the wet wipe, right? Wipe 2 times, stand up, pants, flush, and there should be a wash hands there. It must be. Oh, look, there's a wash hands underneath there. For some reason, I don't know what's wrong with my printer, but I have a better, anyway, if you're interested. But the wipe from the packet, guys, and these are the things that you should be carrying with you when you go out, because these are the times that they need to get used to carrying those sorts of things for themselves, especially at school when they start going off to whatever school. This is where the difference between them coming home with dirty underpants and not. And this is the difference between being confident that at school camp or at work later on, or even at home later on, you have set them up for success from the beginning. Because with our ASD kids, it has to be from the beginning, guys. It really needs to be from the beginning. You can't just sort of, and I'll add an extra step in there into their routine. A routine is a routine. All right, hope that helped. Pop your questions down there or ask for a copy and I will send it through. ASD rocks.